Honest to the elders and apostles of good wisdom, all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Shai, Hashem, Kadash, Shalom to the one that has the Israelites, Zechariah 13:8. Which are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as bloodline, who are still pressed together according to the book of Jeremiah 50:33. But to whom Soleil belong the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the service of God, and the promises according to the book of Romans chapter 9 verse 4, Ecclesiastes 10:7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes working as servants upon the earth, KJV 16:11. Okay, so Salakia for my, it's a little bit hot, especially because it's already basically evening, but it's still that hot, okay, so don't mind. Chapter 1, which, if you read Romans chapter 1, you see that it just can't be the Romans that we talk about, which they have a certain style to, I know people from Germany that like to dress like Romans, like to play Romans. But, back then the Romans were a completely different thing. Today you can play to be a Roman, today you can play to be a whatever you want to be, okay, you can play everything. But the past, when it comes to these different cultures, was really something different, okay. Like, we will read it, right? So this is chapter 1. Paul, a servant of Yahweh, called to be an apostle, separated unto the gospel of God, which he had promised afore by his prophets in the Holy Scriptures, concerning his son, Yahweh, our Lord, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh, and declared to be the Son of God with power according to the Spirit of holiness by the resurrection from the dead, by whom we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the faith among all nations for his name, among whom are ye also the called of Yahweh. To all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints, grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Yahweh. First I thank my God through Yahweh for you all, that your faith is spoken of throughout the whole world. For God is my witness, whom I serve with my spirit in the gospel of his Son, that without ceasing I make mention of you always in my prayers, making request if by any means now at length I might have a prosperous journey by the will of God to come unto you. For I long to see you, that I may impart unto you some spiritual gift, to the end you may be established. That is, that I may be comforted together with you by the mutual faith both of you and me. Now I would not have you ignorant, brethren, that oftentimes I purposed to come to you, unto you basically, okay, but was led hitherto, that I might have some food among you also, even as among other Gentiles. I am debtor both to the Greeks and to the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise, so as much as in me is. I am ready to preach the gospel to you that are at Rome also. For I am not ashamed for the gospel of Yahweh, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first and also the Greeks. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith. As it is written, the just shall live by faith. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against the ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. icon. This is what you basically witness. Okay, day in, day out. It starts with sometimes complicated things, ends in simple things, and on the other hand, it starts with simple things and ends in complicated things. Doesn't matter how you put it, it will always be the same outcome. A lot of unrighteousness that you only can see if you're really about the truth of the Bible, because otherwise you would think it's kind of like normal, but it's not normal. Okay. Okay, it's not normal that you have Xavier Naidoo, okay, having a super duper career, talking about child sacrifices. All of a sudden, in the so-called liberal media. Okay, and you hear it by what he says in his songs and how he sings, okay, that he is not somebody who has psychologic who is unstable, okay, when it comes to his normal person, okay. Yeah, so he's of course not disabled, I mean, okay. If he would be disabled, okay, talking about such things, which he most likely witnessed to some extent, not just in camera but in real, then he wouldn't do such music, okay. I just say how it is. Okay, you people don't understand that, okay, just because you are involved in the system so much that you don't know what's going behind the background, behind the surface, I mean. If you would be wise, then you would not just have a surface life, but also having a wise mindset in the end of what the background of the surface, what's under the surface, at least living with it, where you understand what really the case is, but you also try to live a normal life. That is possible, and that is so-called balance, okay? You can't just live on the surface acting, okay, really acting as if there is no agenda against you. There is a agenda against you, okay? Sooner or later you will feel it, basically, okay? Doesn't matter if emotional, doesn't matter if physical, doesn't matter if by a next world war, okay? There are many ways, okay? But you will know that there is an agenda against you, even if you don't want to see it, okay? So why are rich people, people that really have more money than you, okay, Mark Zuckerberg, for example, okay, building up these bunkers with amounts of money that, okay, even the city where I live in maybe doesn't have that much money in some kind of way, okay? How is that possible? And the reason why things like that are possible, okay, is because they know even if there would be no agenda against you, there will still be something that comes into place, which will be a mass a massive threat, okay, to life in general, which is in the proper tongue, in the worldly proper tongue, it would be the term war here. Okay. Yeah, so if you just, okay, you live not just by bread, okay, which is your breakfast, okay, you know. For example, it starts with the breakfast, okay. Then you have your midday meal, okay. And guess what? Besides that, there's also basically another bread, or the bread that keeps the balance in your life, because you know they have a term in this world, consumer, right? So if a human being just lives by consuming, okay, what happens is you end up like all these people out there, okay, doing suicide, being fat. So if they jump out of a boat, then the boat sinks, okay, with all the people in it. You have 10 people in that boat, but that fat person jumps off the boat, okay, so all of a sudden the whole boat sinks, okay. You know, what I mean is you have in general already a consume um, uh, uh, um, system established, okay, by law, okay, consume society. And guess what? There needs to be a balance to that, even to that, okay, that you have, if you will, a so-called normal life, you know. People think, oh, I'm not the, you know, the 100% consumer. I also care for, you know, for example, the righteousness that the scripture talks about. No, you don't. Okay, if you would do, then you would preach this gospel, or the gospel in general, which only can be one doctrine. Because if you teach that, I don't know, the 1948ers, okay, will bring back peace to the world, then you actually doing a lot more than you think, okay, with saying such things, okay. Or if you say like the Palestinians, okay, bring peace back to the world, okay, it's the same lie, okay. The difference is that the Palestinians don't proclaim to be us, okay. But there's another difference, that you have a lot of 1948ers being actually, okay, being actually involved in, you know, in good things also. So you know, out of every nation, there's a good small group, okay, but the general nation of it is heathen, okay. So let's read verse 18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Yeah, you basically thinking that, you know, uh, lies in general are righteous, okay, which there's nothing righteous about lies, okay. Okay, at the moment there's just war, if you can see it, okay. In the moment there's really just war, okay. Don't you think in those world wars there were also times in between people that were of a certain nation, okay, where you felt as if there's peace, okay, just because just because your country doesn't say to you we are in a world war or we are in a war, it doesn't mean that they don't know it or they don't think the same. Okay, especially in this last generation where you have media being ultimately used as a sword, especially then you should know that if they even would give you this certain information, which is not too difficult to see, okay, then in some special kind of shape, okay. Yeah, so what I mean is you basically will not hear it, okay. You will hear something, okay, if it comes, but it will not be how you think. And this is verse 19, especially because you was not in the knowledge before it happened, okay, that it will come in some way of, in some certain way. Verse 19, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God shewed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. And changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness, daubed the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Gave them up to vile affections, for even the woman that changed the natural use into that which is against nature. Yeah, I even spoke to a so-called Negro woman not so long ago. Was asking her if she has a boyfriend. She just said, I have a girlfriend, girlfriend, in a way where you can understand it's more like a sexual relationship. Yeah, it's what I figured out in this 3 minutes or so. Okay. So there's some kind of awkward, I don't know, whatever stuff, man. Okay. The man leaving the natural use of the woman, which is what it is. Burned in their lust one towards another, man with man, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to return to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. Yeah, basically, basically, it's all set with that, So with that, all praises to Yahweh, Baruch Shem Yahushai, Baruch Shem Kakadash. I believe we will read Romans chapter 2, I believe. In the next video we will see what, really interesting, But anyway, they were honest to Yahweh and apostles of Cornerstone. And all praises to Yahweh, Baruch Shem Yahushai, Baruch Shem Kakadash.